Hi there. When I was much younger, one of my favourite poems was Macaulay's Lays of Ancient Rome. Heroic stuff, real boy's own paper stuff. It's a very long poem, so I've abbreviated it, but I hope you'll get the sense. Lars Porsena of Clusium is marching on Rome with a huge army, and in despair the city fathers of Rome decide to chop down the wooden bridge over the Tiber in order to protect the city, and we'll pick up the story there. But the consul's brow was sad, and the consul's speech was low, and darkly looked he at the wall, and darkly at the foe. Their van will be upon us before the bridge goes down, and if they once may win the bridge, what hope to save the town? Then outspake brave Horatius, the captain of the gate, to every man upon this earth death cometh soon or late, and how shall a man die better than when facing fearful odds, for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods, and for the tender mother who dandled him to rest, and for the wife who nurses his baby at her breast, and for the holy maidens who feed the eternal flame, to save them from false Sextus that wrought the deed of shame. Haul down the bridge, Sir Consul, with all the speed ye may. I, with two more to help me, will hold the foe in play. In yon straight path 1,000 may well be stopped by 3. Now who will stand on either hand and keep the bridge with me? Then outspake Spurius Latius, a Ramnian proud was he. Lo, I will stand at thy right hand, and keep the bridge with thee. And outspake strong Herminius, of Titian blood was he. I will abide on thy left side, and keep the bridge with thee. Horatius, quoth the consul, as thou sayest, so let it be. And straight against the great array went forth the dauntless 3. For Romans in Rome's quarrel spared neither land nor gold, nor son nor wife, nor limb nor life, in the brave days of old. But hark, the cry is Astur, and lo, the ranks divide, and the great lord of Luna comes in his stately pride. Upon his ample shoulders clangs loud the fourfold shield, and in his hand he shakes the brand which none but he can wield. He smiled on those bold Romans, a smile serene and high. He eyed the flinching Tuscans, and scorn was in his eye. Quoth he, the she-wolf's litter stands savagely at bay, but will ye dare to follow if Astur clears the way? Then, whirling up his broadsword with both hands to the height, he rushed against Horatius and smote with all his might. With shield and blade Horatius right deftly turned the blow. The blow, though turned, came yet too nigh. It missed his helm, but gashed his thigh. The Tuscans raised a joyful cry to see the red blood flow. He reeled, and on Herminius he leaned one breathing space. Then, like a wildcat, mad with wounds, sprang right at Astur's face. Through teeth and skull and helmet, so fierce a thrust he sped, the good sword stood a handbreadth out, behind the Tuscan's head. On Astur's throat Horatius right firmly pressed his heel, and thrice and 4 times tugged amain, ere he wrenched out the steel. And see, he cried, the welcome fair guest that waits you here. What noble Lucano comes next to taste our Roman cheer? But meanwhile axe and lever have manfully been plied, and now the bridge hangs tottering above the boiling tide. Come back, Horatius, cried loud the fathers all. Back, Latius, back, Herminius, back ere the ruin fall. Back darted Spurius Latius, Herminius darted back, and as they passed beneath their feet they felt the timbers crack. But when they turned their faces and on the further shore saw brave Horatius stand alone, they would have crossed once more. But with a crash like thunder fell every loosened beam, and like a dam the mighty wreck lay right athwart the stream. And a long shout of triumph rose from the walls of Rome, as to the highest turret tops was splashed the yellow foam. And like a horse unbroken, when first he feels the rein, the furious river struggled hard and tossed his tawny mane, and burst the curb and bounded, rejoicing to be free, and whirling down in fierce career, battlement and plank and pier, rushed headlong to the sea. Alone stood brave Horatius, but constant still in mind, thrice 30,000 foes before and the broad flood behind. Down with him, cried false Sextus with a smile on his pale face. Now yield thee, cried Lars Porsena, now yield thee to our grace. Round turned he, as not deigning those craven ranks to see. Naught spake he to Lars Porsena, to Sextus naught spake he. But he saw on Palatinus the white porch of his home, and he spake to the noble river that rolls by the walls of Rome. O Tiber, Father Tiber, to whom the Romans pray, a Roman's life, a Roman's arms, take thou in charge this day. So he spake, and speaking, sheathed the good sword by his side, and with his harness on his back plunged headlong in the tide. No sound of joy nor sorrow was heard from either bank, but friends and foes in dumb surprise, with parted lips and straining eyes, stood gazing where he sank. And when above the surges they saw his crest appear, all Rome sent forth a rapturous cry, and even the ranks of Tuscany could scarce forbear to cheer. Curse on him, quoth false Sextus, will not the villain drown? But for this stay, ere close of day, we should have sacked the town. Heaven help him, quoth Lars Porsena, and bring him safe to shore, for such a gallant feat of arms was never seen before. And of course the good news is he makes it home safe to a mighty reward from the Roman people.